Welcome back to Chaos Corner. It's your old buddy, the Guardian of Chaos, Big Daddy, and I tell it like it is. I'll say that to say this. Coming to you live to tape, 25 feet below the surface of the earth. Follow me on all social media platforms, and you know what they are. That's on Twitter in real time at Big Daddy GOC. And the GOC stands for the Guardian of Chaos. Hit that profile link. That will bring you over to here on the mothership on the Guardian of Chaos YouTube channel. On Instagram, it's at The Guardian of Chaos. On Facebook, at J Brony. That's right, J Brony. And Prodigio Fidelis El Guardian. Also, The Guardian of Chaos on Rumble, on Gab, on Parler, on Gitter. I cover it all in the IWC. Nobody else gives you the live to tape concept. Now, I'm here for a special appearance down here in the bunker. Yeah, you've been watching the live to tape watch-alongs for AEW Dynamite. You've been watching the retro reviews that I've been doing. We're up to over 1,000 videos on the channel. And today I'm here for a special reason, and that's to cover House of Glory Salvation, which was last night's pay-per-view on FiteTV. Now I'm going to lower the distraction, lower the music. Like, subscribe, leave a comment, tap that bell, and sit back and relax. It's the weekend. Grab your favorite beverage, grab a snack. This will be up today as a premiere on the YouTube channel. Now, last night, JD from New York, the Salamonster, a.k.a. Solomon, and the doctor, a.k.a. the professor, were on the call live on Fight TV for House of Glory Salvation, live from the New York City Arena in Jamaica, Queens. It was a hot crowd, and I usually don't cover anything except the larger groups, but House of Glory, especially in the independent scene, is one of the hottest organizations that's been around and has a history not like many other in the tri-state Northeast New England area. And the legends and the current stars that have come through House of Glory and keep returning to House of Glory are something that you're going to want me to cover. And that's why I'm down here in the bunker, because I plunked down my money last night on Fight TV. And I watched the House of Glory Salvation, and I have to tell you, it was a damn good show. And to listen to JD from New York, a.k.a. Off the Script, along with Salamonster, I'm subbed to both their podcasts and been following JD, and a big supporter and fan of his in the IWC, in this industry that's so competitive for many, many years. JD is the #1 podcast. Salamonster is unbelievable. And to listen to them together, a damn good commentary team. JD even kicks it back a notch, and isn't the JD that's on Off the Script, if you know what I mean, covering WWE, Raw, SmackDown, and AEW Dynamite with my buddy, the Chi-Town Smart Jesse. So here I'm going to give you the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'm no shill. I don't kiss anybody's ass. But I will say the only reason why I bought House of Glory, which I have watched in the past before, but bought it last night, is because of JD from New York. I'm going to be honest about that. So I'm here to give you the good, the bad, and the ugly. So that's who's on the mic. The owner and trainer, the Underground King, Amazing Red, opens up the show for Salvation. A good way to open up. Listen, Amazing Red. If you don't know anything about him, first off, you must have your head up your ass. Second off, go out and do your research. He's trained many stars. He is the owner and trainer at House of Glory, which has been there in New York City and in Queens for quite some time now. Now, do your research. 2014, 2015, maybe. I could be wrong on that, and here I am telling you to do your research. So apparently, without anyone knowing live on Fight TV, Red is injured. Now, he is the six-way champion, okay? Which, if you guys have been watching House of Glory, you know what that means. It's a six-way title, and that's one of the larger championships in House of Glory, because I believe their heavyweight championship is vacant right now. Okay, and then we'll get on to everything else that I want to talk about, the Crown Jewel Championship and so on and so forth. So this is a special episode of Chaos Corner covering House of Glory and Salvation. Again, we opened up with Red in the ring. talking about the six-way title, and he calls out, now Red, again, I don't have to say his praises, I already said it. He calls out a guy who I've been fortunate enough to call his matches in the past before for groups that I've worked for, and that's Montekia. And I remember Amazing Red from late 90s, early 2000s when I was running the New England Northeast tri-state area, New England circuit too. I believe we were on some of the same shows and shared the same locker rooms. So the connection with Red, I can vouch for his talents and his legendary status and who he's trained. Just want to give you the personal relationship there. You know, I haven't seen him in years, but just the history of why I would cover something like House of Glory besides JD. So Red calls out Montekia, who has won his last 3 in a row. He is the king, so to speak, of the six-way title that they have there in House of Glory. As a matter of fact, Montekia is the #1 contender, and Amazing Red is the champion. Apparently, Montekia has won his last 3. I'm repeating that. I just want to get you guys up to speed here if you don't watch House of Glory. So out comes Montekia, you know, the traditional mask. Red is not in traditional wrestling gear. And now Red is trying to give the title to Montekia because Red feels like he has let down the fans and he has let down Montekia because of his injury. Very humble Red. He explains it to the crowd. The professor, the doctor, whatever it is, a little kooky there on the announce team. And it's nice to hear JD and Salamonster, as I said. As we move on in the opening promo here, you see that there's a trend between all the groups right now and the way they're starting off these shows, which is smart. So Red tries to give it to Montekia. It's student versus teacher, so to speak, because Red and Montekia are very close, a.k.a. sensei, we'll say. They're talking about going back and forth. Montekia says he will not accept the title from Red in this way. There's no way. The crowd is hot. It's jammed to capacity there at the NYC Arena. That I'll say. It looked great. They had the lights right on the ring. It had the dark background, but you could see that the crowd was jammed to capacity for House of Glory. So that's great for independent fans and this business and the talent. Again, Red is pushing. The segment went on a little long, I thought, but it was telling a story. Montekia won't accept the title. They talk about what they have in common, the whole sensei thing, and then they talk about, of course, the unfortunate passing of Matt Travis. So, and he won't accept the titles, and they, you know, what they've gone through together and how close they are. So that's what they were talking about. And out comes, out of nowhere, KC Navarro. Now, if you're not familiar with Miami-bred KC Navarro, he's been in MLW, he's been on AEW Dark, I believe. He comes out and he interrupts and he's talking about the six-way match talk that they're all talking about here. The 3 in a row that Montekia has won, and he's a #1 contender, and the belt that Red is holding, the six-way title. So he comes in, he even alludes to, because now you're in New York, we're coming up on the basketball playoffs. It's March Madness, right? So KC Navarro and all his pink flamboyance from Miami, I don't know, Don Johnson or whatever. But Navarro is no slouch. He's in good shape. He comes out and he alludes to the Knicks and the Heat in the NBA and that whole rivalry, the historic rivalry back to the 90s. We know all the history there between the Miami Heat and New York Knicks, which is legendary. I should know as a 50-year Knicks fan, unfortunately. So that's what leads into that. And that ends up leading into a match. Since Red is injured, it leads into a match where Navarro challenges Montekia with Red in his corner. Remember now, Montekia with the moniker Master of the Six-Way. So it turns into an impromptu match here. It starts, these guys are hot and heavy. I'll give you the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'll break it down quick. I want to get this up to YouTube. I'm not going to give you word by word. I'll give you the highlights of what I watched on FiteTV. Again, worth the price of admission. Worth the price of what they were charging on FiteTV if you wanted entertainment. I will say that to say this because I tell it like it is. Casey is in the face of Red before this all starts off, and as the action starts off outside, a big brawl outside, Navarro gets back into Red's face again. So you see the heat's there again. I allude to the crowd. Casey with some big power bombs. The bottom line is here, and Montekia, who again, high flyer, unbelievable grappler, luchador. He hit a tilt the world DDT on Navarro that was really, really impressive. And if you've never seen Montekia, or if you have and you've seen him live, this guy, for someone who's just about 200 pounds, is an unbelievable, now you know, grappler. Now you know why they call him the master of the six-way. If you've gone back and done your research on House of Glory, which I hope you're going to do, and this video alludes to that here, at least on my channel. And the bottom line is, Montekia pins Casey Navarro with what they call the Code Red, alluding to Amazing Red. It's basically, and it's an unbelievable maneuver, it's a different variation of what I would call a Canadian Destroyer, or close to thereabouts, but an unbelievable maneuver. Navarro held himself well, and he's no slouch. He wouldn't be in House of Glory. He wouldn't have been in MLW and AEW Dark if the guy wasn't talented. And I could vouch that I've seen some of Navarro's work on YouTube. He held himself well. Red, you can't say any more than this guy's basically a Hall of Famer, in my opinion, Amazing Red. And Montekia, I've known of Montekia for probably at least a half a dozen years now, and he continues to prove why. He is one of the king of the independents in this area. Why this guy hasn't been signed or been on Dark or in other organizations on level with Glory or even higher is beyond me. So that's the bottom line. Montekia goes over here in the opening bout. Yes, I actually took notes, JD. I took notes for this. We move on. Before we go on to the next bout, let's remember, as Montekia did defeat Navarro, Navarro turns around and gives a nut shot to Red out of nowhere, and then he takes the title to disrespect the six-way title and throws it into the ring. So that's another way where Navarro really got a lot of heat last night at the NYC arena. And give Navarro credit. He came in and held his own, but the nut shot to Red, I get it. I understand what you're trying to do there, Navarro and H.O.G management. To throw the title, he legitimately threw that title. That I didn't like. I'm giving you the good, the bad, and the ugly. That I didn't like, of actually throwing the title from the ramp into the ring. That's another story for another time. Again, JD and Salamonster and the quirky doctor or professor. Listen. Those three were as busy as a blow-up doll at a frat party, and I'm certainly as confused as a baby at Hooters with the three-man booth, but it worked. I was expecting a little more JD, but everyone was professional and did their job and played their role. I'll give them credit for a three-man booth. It's not easy. We go on to the next match, which is the main event, who I am familiar with, against the Amazing Graysons making their debut, which the guys didn't really know a lot about. I am familiar with the Graysons. They are from this area. I've seen them in Northeast before. I've seen them in Beyond before, or Limitless. They're all over the independent circuit in this area. The two Graysons, they are really amazing. They're in great shape. They're high flyers. They're technically sound. They've gone up against a lot of stars. They've been in AEW Dark before as well, and they work together as a team. They've been together for a long time. So I have seen a lot of their work on YouTube. And, of course, the main event, I've seen their work in this area, too. If you go to the YouTube channels and you're researching, you do your history like the GOC does. That's where you can't present the product. And they come out, and I'll give them credit. JD actually popped for the main event. The greatest show on earth, if you will. Jay Lion and Midas Black. And, of course, I already said the debut of the Graysons. Jay Lion, with the whole mane and all that, I'll give him credit for the gimmick and the look. I could appreciate that. But he was the biggest of the four, although the Graysons, both muscular guys in good shape. Jay Lion represented himself well. I haven't seen the main events work in a while. I was aware of them a few years back. A couple of people have brought their attention to me, and they worked well as a team. And I was impressed with Jay Lion, who took the bulk of the work for the main event. A lot of double team maneuvers on both sides. Of course, I have to give the experience. I'm not sure who you did this very close tag team matchup here. Just my opinion. The Graysons double team Jay Lyon, some nice super kicks, a beautiful combination double tag team work of the super kick leg sweep by the Graysons. Some double team moves by the main event. Jay Lyon had a rolling senton through an actual circle, a big ring hula hoop, so to speak, that they call obviously the Ring of Fire. He did that onto the Graysons outside the ring from the inside of the ring. I popped for that. That was pretty cool. Jay Lyon also had a nice spinning back kick that I thought connected, a spinning heel kick. And for a guy that size, mobile, hostile, agile, and nimble was Jay Lyon. Several 2 counts and false finishes there, that the two teams going back and forth. Again, the debut in House of Glory by the Amazing Graysons. The main event have been in House of Glory before. Again, we said the false finish and several 2 counts. A double team front face buster, I'll call it. Everybody has their variations and different calls to maneuvers and holds and moves, and they put their twist on it. I say it all the time what a basic call would be, but we'll call it a double team front face buster. And Black went over on the pin. He came in, he cleaned house for a while on the hot tag. So I will give Midas Black credit. And they worked well together, the main event. And the Graysons, you'll have to give the veteran and caginess to the main event, but I'm going to give the athleticism to the Amazing Graysons on their debut. I'm familiar with their work. I think they represent themselves well. This was a solid match. Black with the pin, like I said, in a double team maneuver by the main event. So Midas Black, Jay Lyon, the main event over the Amazing Graysons. We move on to House of Glory's Salvation here, with the GOC giving you the rundown on his viewpoint. Yes, I took notes, I watched it, I plunked down the cats, I watched on FiteTV, and we'll see who picks up on this. Next, we have a veteran, cagey, flashy dude, man, that I'll tell you. I'm Rick James, bitch. I like his style. He's athletic. He's in great shape. He's got charisma, machismo. And that would be Cash Flow Ken Broadway. And let me tell you something. Broadway comes out. Now, I don't know if it's real money, not real money. I don't know. I'm just telling you where my viewpoint was as I was watching the event last night. Making it rain, big pimpin'. So you know the swagger that Kenny Broadway has. If you've ever seen any of his matches, he's a mainstay. The guy's been all over the country, all over the world. He's one of the top independent guys. He's been in all the big organizations. Why he's not signed right now to a bigger organization, I'll never know. Like I said about Montequilla, why he's not working for one of the bigger groups on the regular, I don't know. With all the talent that you see up on these rosters, I know they're top heavy. It goes for the same thing with Ken Broadway right now. That's just how I'm feeling. And now that they brought back Ring of Honor with TK and all that, and it's going to be a feeder system, we'll see what happens. And Impact and NWA are good alternatives, as are MLW, NWA, New Japan. I think I said that twice. So Broadway comes out looking good, as he always does. And then there's a debut that comes out of nowhere, because some of these matches were not announced pre-show, not on the card, not on the lineup. So Ken Broadway, out comes a guy making his debut. I'm not really sure who he was. He did pretty damn good, and I believe it was All in One, Michael Fane, making his debut, if I got that right. Michael Fane, All in One, making his debut against Cashflow Kenny Broadway. And Fane actually comes in, this cocky, arrogant young dude, again, I don't know him, and takes the mic and shoots a promo. So, of course, Cashflow comes out of nowhere and he bum rushes him. It spills outside. Broadway's not going to put up with any of that bullshit from some rookie. Broadway, again, to me, is a star. A big-time talent, Cashflow. He's no one to trifle with. So he's beating Fane's ass all over the arena with, big chops, elbows, a beautiful Michinoku driver, a Saito suplex. These are what these guys are saying. Those are the technical moves. But again, we all have our variations of how you want to call the maneuver and who's broadcasting. Again, JD and Salamaster work very well together. And even with the Doctor, the three-man booth, they're moving together good. No one is stepping on each other. JD's impartial. A Salamaster comes in and gives the levity. And the Doctor, a.k.a. Professor, if you will, is playing the heel on the mic, doing the color. Not bad. Not bad. Again, I'm more partial to JD. I want to hear more JD. And that's just respecting a guy who's in the business. That's all. Remember, I am the old man brand, the over 50 demo god. We're 20 minutes in here, so don't go anywhere as we live to tape review of House of Glory Salvation on Fight TV. So we get back to Cash Flow Kenny Broadway in the debut of Michael Fane. I already told you Broadway was beating his ass, but Fane hits this move called the Future Classic, is what one of the broadcasters, the professor, was saying, and got a 2 count on Broadway. And he actually came back, this Michael Fane, making his debut, and did okay and represented himself for a new guy against a cagey veteran star like Broadway. It was okay. Broadway comes up with his usual trademark, and I've heard this before and seen it before in other tapes and programs where Broadway has worked with the currency kick, and then comes up with, again, different things, different maneuvers, different calls, different variations, different tributes. And I get it when it comes to House of Glory, especially with the tragedy of Matt Travis. So Broadway hits the currency kick and then gives the Travis plex for the pin, a suplex. And that's it. Cash Flow goes over. And I'll give the guy Sane or Fane or the Puddintane, whatever his name was, I'll give him credit for getting in there with Broadway for a debut and actually taking care and sticking up for himself. But let me tell you something. Broadway grabs the mic and he talks about the Crown Jewel title. Did I say Crown Triple Jewel? This isn't the WWE. The Crown Jewel title there at House of Glory. Again, it's a unique name. It's a unique title to have. So what Broadway does, because he did barely break a sweat on this guy making his debut, this rookie, he calls out anyone from the back, which I don't know is always a good move. You always see these guys that want to call people out. And after you just have a match, man, when you do that and you challenge an open locker room, aren't you inviting bullshit into you? I don't agree with that. When I was in the business, again, as a fan over 50 years, being in the business, in and out for over 3 decades, I advise my guys as one of the biggest, baddest, loudest managers, don't do that, man. Get a contract, get it in writing, do it on different terms. Don't do it on emotion. That's what Broadway did. So he calls people out, and who comes out of nowhere? And if you don't know him, look him up. He's one of the hottest guys going out there, a true sick bastard. He really is a dangerous, sick son of a bitch. Out goes the lights. And who comes out? Here's a guy that I did some more research on, and I've seen some of his work. I was familiar with him. Charles Mason in a blue suit and, hair all done up. And Mason is a dangerous dude. And if you know about his history with plastic garbage bags and plastic bags, he plays the villain role damn good, and is a dangerous guy. And to hear the announce team talking about Charles Mason, he spits in the face of Cash Flow and then puts him in a sleeper. So this was, again, none of this was on the card. None of it was announced. All was surprising. Yes, we thought we lost you for a second there. Thank God it didn't go out. We're down in the bunker. We haven't been down there, but we're still here. See, we're talking about Charles Mason will do. You don't get dead air. This is one man, unique, unscripted, no bells, no whistles, raw to tape. This is editing 101, which means there's no editing. This is reality. Charles Mason may have affected Chaos Corner on that one. That's why this is live to tape, and it goes right up. So he stands over him and he's mocking him, and he's talking about old money and street thugs, and grabs the mic and cutting the promos. Now, again, going along a line and what's happening in the bigger groups in AEW or WWE or some of the other big groups I see, or bigger shows, of working the storylines, the emotional investment, the ring psychology, the storytelling. House of Glory hasn't been putting out a steady product, so you're going to have to work the storyline, and that's the job that the guys did of reminding the fans and the audience there on Fight TV and of House of Glory of the storylines and who ties into two and what the history was of the performers, because they were caught off guard as much as the people that were watching. That's the feeling that I got on the Fight TV pay-per-view from JD and Solomonster. So again, Charles Mason, a dangerous guy. So he's talking about all these different things. He talks and he takes out this garbage bag and he's getting ready to smother Cash Flow. This is where things got interesting. I actually turned twice. So let me refer. Let's turn the page here at House of Glory Salvation. Now Mason is talking of poverty. He's still talking as he's trying to pull out the bag. He says he reached out to someone in prison. Now remember, Broadway's hurting at this point. Mason is standing over him. You know, Broadway's basically out, and Mason's just mocking him. And he starts talking about how the past of Mason, and again, the evil feelings, the despicable human being that Mason is. I already relayed that. He says he reached out to someone in prison. Los hombres. No me joda maricón, muévete culo, los hombres. And this big dude had to be about 6'10", maybe 290 pounds, wearing a wife beater and ripped jeans. Carlos Los Hombres Ramirez. That's who they call him by. I know nothing about this guy. They didn't seem to either. He comes out with Mason. He delivers a big back suplex or big chops, and it turns up being a match because, again, these are guys that I wasn't super familiar with. I had to do my research. The House of Glory PD, Detective James with Detective Maiden and Joey Silver come out here to try to interrupt and break this off. That's where I got ahead of myself. Detective James, Detective Maiden with Joey Silver, the H.O.G. PD. I had to do my research. I reached in for this one, JD. So there ends up being an intermittent match, and this is where Ramirez delivers the big back suplex, the big chops, and a flatliner. Again, I'm going to call the different variations of moves. To me, it's a full Nelson slam because he gets into a match, impromptu, not on the lineup, not on the card. This is what you get in Fight TV when you tune in live. Detective James goes up against Los Hombres. And James takes a big bump from the top rope to the outside by an arm whip. Basically from the ring apron from Carlos Ramirez. That was another big move. But I'll say that to say this because I tell it like it is. And I'm going to give you the good, the bad, and the ugly. I didn't know anything. After the Cash Flow Charles Mason segment, I knew nothing about Los Hombres, H.O.G. PD. I knew nothing about these guys, but I did my research and I took my notes. Believe it or not, Detective James used a small package roll-up and he pinned Los Hombres. Ramirez press slams Joey Silver into the crowd from the ramp on the way out. So who knows what's going to happen? Yes, notes. So who knows what's going to happen moving on. And then Mason takes out the trash bag and puts it over Detective James. That whole trash bag. Sick shit. I will say that. The Mason gimmick is over with me, and it seemed to be over with the commentary team and the crowd there. The crowd was hot in Jamaica, Queens at the NYC Arena. I will say that to say this. So that's how that ended up. It ended up being a whole unscripted, on the fly. And I'll give House of Glory credit for throwing it out there for entertainment. And I like the Mason gimmick. Who knows where it'll go from there. And it's a sick bastard, huh? Not bad. We move on to there from a very huge, big match. One of the matches that this is the reason why I bought the Fight TV. This is why I bought H.O.G. Salvation. Because it was for the H.O.G. Crown Jewel Championship. The professional Low Key, who I have my own history with, was lucky enough to be on the same event, same locker rooms, happened to be in the same team. Oh, yeah, back in the late 90s, early 2000s, he was a badass back then, legit, even twice as much as the professional. You know, the typical now with the shirt and tie and the black glove, Low Key with the martial arts. He's a man's man, humble, professional, dangerous, no-nonsense motherfucker. Low Key takes on Biff Busick. Would you say Chaos? What? Biff Busick, the former Oni Lorcan from WWE NXT. That's right, Oni Lorcan, Biff Busick shows up at House of Glory to take on the Crown Jewel champion. And let me tell you something. I'm not going to say Oni Lorcan, but Busick was in incredible shape. He must have been at maybe 6 or 7% body fat, if that. He looked unbelievable. Now, you know the background of both these guys. They've been around a long time, especially low-key, over 2 decades. Biff Busick was trained by Lance Storm. Everyone knows that from his former Oni Lorcan name. So we start off here with huge knife edge chops. I'll quickly run through it. It was a lot of groundwork, a lot of kicks, the traditional double stomps by Low Key. Biff Busick took a beating in the opening. Low Key really took it to his ass, and I will say I haven't seen Biff Busick, Oni Lorcan, take that kind of beating in a while. Low Key handed it out to him. Busick clipped the leg on Low Key, was really working that. A dragon screw leg whip, had him in a half crab for a while, going back and forth. A nice cross face. Those are the different moves by both Low Key and Biff Busick, going back and forth. Again, this was with no heavyweight champion, and this being the Crown Jewel Championship, this is the second biggest title in House of Glory, from what I understand. This is what I'm understanding. So, Salvation on Fight TV. It was a physical, hard-hitting match with Low Key and Busick. I'm just going to say that. In and out of the ring, Busick ends up taking control. He had those big European uppercuts as his style. The rolling kick, a.k.a. this is where I talk about different versions, different names, different twists. The capo kick from Low Key, the double stomp on the ramp was... I'm surprised Busick today isn't in the ER. Maybe he is. I mean, I don't know. Missed suplex on the ramp at one point, and this is where it led to the double stomp on the ramp that I just alluded to by Low Key. At one point, Busick, he missed a suplex on the ramp, which really would have taken Low Key out. These guys punished each other. Both guys barely made it back in on the 10 count, rolled in together, so I kind of got a kick out of that. There were big chops, a dragon sleeper by Low Key. He missed the key crusher several times. Give Busick credit because he avoided the key crusher several times. There was even at one point where Low Key, as we get to the finish in this one, had an unbelievable where Lorcan, a.k.a. Biff Busick, I said I wasn't going to say it, was hanging upside down, and Low Key from the top rope hit the double stomp into the pin, and that's how it ends up going. Busick loses. That's right, Low Key with the double stomp retains the Crown Jewel Championship and went over in what I want to say would probably be a 4-star match with Low Key and Biff Busick. What a way to determine the Crown Jewel Championship. Low Key has defended now a handful of times that title. Who knows where it's going to be going forward. So that's one of the matches I want to see. And here's another match coming up. I believe this was like the 5th or 6th, maybe 7th match in the lineup. 6th match in the lineup here on Fight TV. House of Glory Salvation. Live to tape from the bunker, 25 feet below the surface of the earth here at Chaos Corner. Giving you the good, the bad, and the ugly. We go to the H.O.G. Women's Champion in her first defense, trained by DDP, Natalia Markova. Now remember, Markova's been all over the country and all over the world. She's been well-versed in her craft. And let me tell you something, she's easy on the eyes, and talk about thick. Let me be professional here, but Markova is the current H.O.G. Ladies Champion. And she, I will say, after watching this match and only seeing her stuff before on YouTube, I said, she has talent. I didn't poo-poo her talent. There's a lot of competition out there with women's wrestling right now. And why isn't Markova signed? She's been around for a while. So I'll say that to say this. I was impressed with Markova in debuting for House of Glory. They had a lot of debuts in H.O.G. For Salvation last night. Taya Valkyrie, that's right, living La Vida Roca, also trained by Lance Storm. Taya Valkyrie shows up at H.O.G. and then, You know who showed up in the announce team booth? It was already a three-man with the crazy, nutty professor, a JD from New York, and a Salamonster. Finally, the doctor must have went and gave somebody a pap smear, or maybe a who knows what the hell the doctor was doing. But in comes, and she held herself well, especially for the ladies' matchup here, was Miss Sam Laterna. I'm familiar with Sam Laterna. She's involved in the IWC in the media portion. So Sam Laterna joined JD and Salamonster on the call for the ladies' championship between Natalia Markova and Taya Valkyrie, a.k.a. Frankie Monet. Listen, I never liked the whole Frankie Monet. I know Taya Valkyrie from her days in Triple A and when she was in Lucha Underground, and she's from Canada, and she's been trained by Lance Storm, and Taya Valkyrie was an Impact, and she's more than earned her stripes. Taya Valkyrie, a very educated, professional, well-trained, well-traveled lady who should be at a higher level or a bigger organization right now. Not that these independents aren't qualified, because this is where you continue to learn and grow and be able to mold your craft. But what a match between Markova and Taya Valkyrie making her debut. Going back and forth. Now listen, I'm just going to say, give you the good, the bad, and the ugly. Taya with the traditional white boots, the fluffy white boots. She was delivering the big chops and the suplexes and the knee strikes, and it came out with a spear out of nowhere. It was a physical match. Both ladies worked their ass off. A beautiful face plant by Markova. She had, at one point, a suicide dive outside the ring and a DDT outside the ring that Markova delivered on Valkyrie. That I'll say, both of these ladies, inside and outside. This wasn't no 5-minute match. They worked their ass off for the House of Glory Ladies Championship between Taya and Markova. And again, Sam Laterna did add to JD and Salamonster. So to work with a 3-person booth all night, it's pretty impressive. And at one point, Markova, and this is where I was very surprised, and give Valkyrie a lot of credit, because she is the more experienced, the bigger star, the bigger talent. Just my opinion. I'm giving you the good, the bad, and the ugly, and I'm telling it like it is. And I know that I'm rambling on and telling you this, but I was hyped for this, and to do this podcast, to review it and to be able to get it up there. The bottom line is, Natalia Markova went over on Taya Valkyrie with what they call, again, the different versions and spins and your twists, the beautiful distraction, which was basically a spinning roundhouse by Markova, and she pinned Taya Valkyrie. And what I consider, listen, I know she was the champion. This was her first title defense, Markova. She's been around for a while, but Valkyrie's a superstar. Markova retained the title. So in a surprise, I really was looking forward to it. The match delivered. Markova retains the title over Taya Valkyrie. A little surprise there. I would consider that an upset. I really did. Let's think about this now with Natalia Markova, whose outfit was left a little bit to be desired. Again, I was confused as a baby at Hooters. Natalia Markova in House of Glory has beaten Mercedes Martinez, Jordan Grace, and now Taya Valkyrie. Let that sink in. Markova has defeated Mercedes Martinez, Jordan Grace, and Taya Valkyrie. Yes, this was her first title defense, but she has beaten those 3 ladies. And at this point, and we're 38, less than 40 minutes in, I didn't think I was going to go this long reviewing FiteTV, H.O.G Salvation. JD said, that's right, JD, and I hope you're listening almost 40 minutes in here. JD said he's ready for chaos. Let that sink in. JD said he's ready for chaos on FiteTV for House of Glory Salvation. Him and the Salamonster, Sam Laterna was out of the booth at that point. I believe the doctor, the good doctor, after giving someone maybe a rectal examination, but no offense, I want to keep it PG, was back in the booth for the main event. The Ring of Honor titles with them boys, the Briscoes. Another reason why I bought this pay-per-view on FiteTV for House of Glory Salvation. Them boys, the Ring of Honor champions, show up to defend their titles against the Lucha Brothers, Penta and Phoenix, the defending House of Glory Tag Team Champions. This was the main event. The crowd was still into it, popped all night. No one went anywhere. Again, JD Salamonster, they were on point. Ring of Honor versus House of Glory. But coming into the ring, Phoenix, we know who was severely injured in AEW against the Lucha Express, Jurassic Express, Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, whatever you want to call it. He was severely injured in a match with the Lucha Brothers against them. So I didn't think he was going to... This is another reason why I bought the pay-per-view, not only with TK buying Ring of Honor and then showing up at House of Glory before they've gone anywhere, them boys, and then the Lucha Brothers basically returning before maybe AEW. I said, no. So it piqued my interest, made me plunk the money besides my boys, on commentary. I'm not being biased, just telling you the truth. Let me take a second here, 40 minutes in. Stay with me. We're going to the main event here on Chaos Corner from H.O.G Salvation. H.O.G, not G.O.C. I know. That's why I'm a little amped. I get it. Thanks for being here, because we'll wrap this up for House of Glory Salvation. Last night on FiteTV, live to tape here from Chaos Corner. Phoenix explains that he takes the mic and, he's not ready, and, his English isn't the best, so it's kind of broken, and I'll be honest, and I tell it like it is, and I really don't give a fuck. You can change the channel if you don't like the way I say things. Remember now, the Briscoes are the 12-time tag team champions, Ring of Honor Hall of Famers. Phoenix takes the mic and describes that, just basically tells what we all know after seeing it with our own eyes, that he can't wrestle, he can't compete. Jay Briscoe, in turn, the crowd went berserk, went insane. It was pure chaos, pandemonium, pun intended. When they came in, Jay Briscoe grabs the mic and says, grab a partner to Penta, and it's Ring of Honor versus House of Glory for the tag team titles. And you know what Bully Ray said to me 20 years ago, as I mumble and stumble my way through here at times? Give the Guardian of Chaos 7 spots and he'll fuck up 6 of them. I'm proud of that, coming from Bully Ray on Busted Open Radio, 2-time Hall of Famer. I consider that a compliment, wouldn't you? It is what it is. So Jay Briscoe makes that known. Phoenix says, yeah, they'll accept, and they'll put the titles Ring of Honor against House of Glory. Phoenix calls out from AAA. No one ever expected it. No one knew a lot about him. We know now, Erez. So it's Penta and out of AAA, Erez, to defend against the Briscoe boys. That's right, them boys, the Briscoe brothers. Penta and Jay start off. I'll go through the highlights quick. Excuse me, pardon me. Yes, I got the halls. Penta and Jay Briscoe start off on that. Yeah, I know, I should get a check. A special note, Penta and Phoenix. Just a special note here as I got distracted. Penta and Phoenix the Lucha Brothers in 2019 defeated Santana and Ortiz, LAX, Proud and Powerful, whatever you want to call them, in 2019 for the House of Glory Tag Team titles. That's who the Lucha Brothers beat for the House of Glory Tag Team titles. I want to let that known from the top. So it's not even Penta and Phoenix, and they decided to put the titles up, as did the Briscoes for Ring of Honor. Let that sink in. It's Erez from AAA. Again, Erez with a flying somersault off the top rope for different highlights of what we have here after Penta and Jay Briscoe started off. Mark Briscoe uses a chair and, flying outside the ring, the different maneuvers. If you haven't seen this match, it was worth the price of admission alone. This guy, Erez from AAA, when I say this guy, I mean this luchador teaming up with Penta and with the Briscoes, Mark and Jay. This went back and forth and was an unbelievable matchup. I'm going to say it was main event worthy and was worth plunking down my money for H.O.G Salvation. Outside, they were brawling. Penta at one point was on fire in this match. Mark Briscoe with a beautiful full Nelson snap suplex, a hangman's neck breaker on Penta, a double stomp by Penta on Mark Briscoe. And then as I ramble on with the highlights and different things here, because I didn't want to make this an hour-long video. I just wanted to get it up because I enjoyed it and I had fun, and I hope this encourages you to go out and get the product. The double stomp by Penta on Mark Briscoe was great, and the vaulting, and I repeated that, the vaulting moonsault. The vaulting moonsault by Ares out of nowhere on Jay Briscoe was a sight to behold. I mean, this guy, I don't know how high he was in the... Go out and research this or watch this replay. I'm going to watch it again myself. It really was unbelievable, especially with Mark Briscoe and Penta slugging it out. At one point, Penta hits his traditional sling blades. All four men are in the ring. It's, again, fast and furious. I have to settle down here. It just was what these guys did going back and forth and being on the call, and no Phoenix, but Ares with Penta. I can't stress it enough. And of course, what the Briscoes bring to the table. Why the fuck haven't they been signed yet? I don't understand it. Mark Briscoe, to wrap it up, hit his traditional unbelievable frog splash on Ares for the pin. And here it is. Here's the announcement. Here's the breaking news. If you didn't watch it, it'll be up today on Saturday. Live to tape here from Chaos Corner. If you didn't see it on Fight TV for House of Glory Salvation last night. Mark and Jay Briscoe, them boys, are the Ring of Honor and House of Glory Tag Team Champions. Mark Briscoe pinned Ares for the frog splash. So it didn't matter if it was Phoenix and Penta or not. They agreed to it. That's it. Finute. And that's how it went off the air. The Briscoes are the multi-tag team champions of House of Glory and Ring of Honor. Unbelievable matchup. It well worth it. You see that I'm relaying it. So I hope this makes you go out and get this and listen to the review and listen to JD and Salamonster and the product that they put out for an independent group was well worth it, on par with any group that I can think of, at least with MLW, NWA, New Japan, different products like that, Impact Wrestling, AEW Dark Elevation, as good a product as that. So I kept it at 45 minutes. I'm going to put this up there. I hope you watched it to the end. House of Glory, well done. Fight TV, well done. I'm looking forward to it in the future. JD, Solid Monster, and yeah, I'll say that to say this because I tell it like it is. Even the good doctor. Tune back into Chaos Corner. House of Glory. Don't you dare miss it.